Terence Crawford beats Israil Madrimov by unanimous decision to win the WBA Super Welterweight World title. Here are some reactions.
What did you think? Did you give it a tough fight? Nice to meet you, man. Well, they haven't announced the winner, but who do you expect to win, Mike?
Crawford is trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He fucking did his shit. I felt he won. At least a draw. The judges, you weirdos, you guys suck. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound, suck. You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident. You
I gotta run. Teddy, real quick, what'd you think of Madrimov?
No, he fought a good fight, a controlled fight, a smart fight, very contained fight, very disciplined fight. He gave himself a chance. And he landed right hands against the southpaw stance, which, you're supposed to throw right hands when you see a southpaw. But Crawford won the fight, but it was a fight that made Crawford, obviously extend to himself to where, he had to, he had a real fight on his hands. But Crawford showed how special he is.
So you agree he won?
Yeah, Crawford
Okay,
won.
and after that, is Canelo? Is Canelo's ready for Canelo? I mean, that's 2 more weight classes.
Yeah, give him a little time, will you? Give him a little time. Crawford's great, though, and Madrimov did himself proud, too.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Teddy.
What up?
Caleb, it's Kevin Garcia with Fight Hype. Just want to get your thoughts on the fight. Do you think the decision was appropriate?
Man, for me, that was a hard fight to judge. Some of those early rounds lacked, a lot of back and forth action, but they were computing a lot of data. So in those early rounds, it was hard for me to tell. I did think Terence won the 12th round, and tonight I was kind of watching as a fan. I thought it was a close fight, but I thought Terence did enough to pull out the victory with him winning the last round, because I thought it was about even going into that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And the obvious question, Caleb, Terence has been calling out Canelo. You were in the ring with the man. Do you think, based on what you saw tonight, and I know that's a very reactionary thing, but do you think Bud showed enough to actually convince the fans and the people back in that fight that it should happen?
I think he's been out for a year, so maybe there was some ring rust as well. And also, styles make fights. That guy's got a bit of a difference. He's got some attributes that Canelo has, his explosiveness, his power, but he still has a different style than Canelo. So styles make fights. I feel like if Terence could get a little more busy, a little more active, it could do him better. And at that point, I really wouldn't put anything past Terence. He's a special man. And, thus far, when he puts his mind to something, he's been able to accomplish it.
There's a lot of talk around Crawford fighting Canelo. Do you think this fight, this performance
This
by
fight is not
Crawford?
going to happen, man. He's asking for $200 million. He said that David has nothing to bring to the table. Look who he got, Berlanga. Who has Berlanga fought? So this fight is not going to happen. If somebody comes out with the $200 million, I think that's a lot of money. I don't think nobody's going to pay for that. But anything can happen. He could just wake up and say, hey, I want to fight David, because if he doesn't fight David, he's going to have that shadow always following him, and I don't think nobody's going to give him that respect as a true champion.
Do you think the Crawford-Canelo fight is killed now with this performance, or you think it could still happen?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think he should have looked a little bit more spectacular. But yeah, like I said, the weight, it's a big weight difference. I don't see that fight happening either.
It was a good fight, man. Decent fight, man.
You think Terence deserved the decision, or was it closer than that?
For sure, I think he deserved it.
I think he's in trouble when he fights Canelo, I'll tell you right now. You should not call out Canelo. No. After that, I don't think so. Hey, Madrimov's a bad dude, though. He's a badass dude. The whole night was great, though. Good to see you, Alex.
How do you think the fight played out?
10. I'm ready to fight, man. I'm ready to fight him.
You thought it was a clear victory for Bud?
Huh?
You thought it was a clear victory for Bud?
Shouldn't be getting hit like that with a guy that has only 11 pro fights. He shouldn't be having that much of difficulty with a guy that only has 11 pro fights. Now 12.
All right, Ron Goodall, FightHype.com here at Israil Madrimov. First and foremost, congratulations on the win. It's a hard-earned win, 4 divisions. You joined the company of Roberto Duran, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, Oscar De La Hoya, and Shane Mosley. I think that went from lightweight to super middleweight. All those guys are Hall of Fame. So all those guys are amazing guys. Terence just joined that club. How excited as a coaching staff to get that accomplished?
Man, I'm just so happy. Everybody, the teammates, the coaching and stuff. And the other fighters from BNB, we all just happy because everybody push each other, and that's a big accomplishment for Bud. And it's not easy to accomplish this, but man, he's ready for more.
What do you think, Loma? What's up, bro?
Hey, very close fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have Israel winning?
But it was a very interesting fight, very smart fight.
Did you feel Israel did enough to win?
No, it's how about compare my fight with Haney? Madrimov was a champion.
Yeah.
So it's enough for win the title.
Yeah.
Man, you gotta understand that's his fighter. You know, he's gonna say anything that he can to hype it up. You know, he knows that guy lost, and so do his team, and so do he.
In the lead up to Terence Crawford's upcoming bout on August 3rd, promoter Eddie Hearn has cast doubt on Crawford's ability to prevail against his next opponent, WBA junior middleweight champion Israil Madrimov. Hearn's skepticism stems from his assessment of Madrimov's formidable skills and power in the ring. Hearn predicts, tough fight for Crawford. He said, "I think they're underestimating him." Hearn's words show that Madrimov could be a tough challenge for Crawford. Madrimov is a strong fighter and could make it hard for Crawford to achieve his goals. Even though Crawford is expected to win, Hearn cautioned that Madrimov has skills and strength that make him a serious opponent who shouldn't be ignored. Hearn said about WBA junior middleweight champion Israil Madrimov, "He's extremely tough. He hits very hard, and it's all like Canelo after this." Don't get me wrong, Crawford is the favorite in the fight, but Madrimov is a very, very tough fight. Hearn highlighted Madrimov's agility, physical fitness, and strength during his peak years. Moreover, Hearn emphasized Madrimov's formidable punching power, indicating that facing him poses a significant challenge. He said in a press conference, "He's got great movement, he's a fit, strong guy in his prime, and as I said, he punches very hard, and that's not an easy fight." The power, youth, and mobility of Madrimov will be a nightmare for Crawford, which could be a disaster for him. He could be sadly mistaken if he thinks Madrimov will be another depleted old guy like his last three opponents, Errol Spence, David Avanesian, and Sean Porter. Hearn stated that the only person who could facilitate such a fight was likely Canelo Alvarez himself. Hearn implied that Canelo's desires and conditions for the bout would be crucial in whether the fight would materialize.
I don't think he's overly interested in the Terence Crawford fight, because I think he'll be thinking, I'm not going to get any credit for beating Terence Crawford. He's a 147-pounder who's just moved to 154. You're asking him to move up to 168 and fight a guy that's going to massively outsize him. And also, at this stage in Canelo Alvarez's career, stylistically, I'm not sure he wants to fight a mover.
Hearn said about Canelo Alvarez versus Crawford, "I think the only person that can make that fight is His Excellency because of what Canelo wants for that fight." Hearn points out a crucial factor. Crawford's fixation on a potential Canelo Alvarez fight might be distracting him from the immediate challenge posed by Israil Madrimov. Even if Crawford were fully focused on Madrimov, Hearn suggests it could still be a tough fight. Crawford's age, recent inactivity, and move up to a new weight class all add to the uncertainty. Ideally, Crawford would acclimatize slowly to 154 pounds with transitional fights, but his eagerness for a big payday against Canelo means he's skipping crucial steps. These factors, combined, make Madrimov a potentially dangerous opponent for Crawford at this stage of his career. Eddie Hearn expressed his plans for Jaron Ennis and his ambitions in boxing. He emphasized his desire to see Ennis unify the welterweight division before potentially moving up to the super welterweight class. Hearn also shared his doubts about Terence Crawford's upcoming bout against Israil Madrimov, suggesting Crawford might struggle in the fight. Looking ahead, promoter Eddie Hearn told the media, "Jaron fights in 2 weeks. I want to see him unify the division and try and clean up at 147 and then move to 154. Hearn's confident prediction underscores his belief in Ennis's potential to dominate Crawford in the ring, highlighting Ennis's skill and readiness for a high-stakes matchup. He said in an interview, "If Terence Crawford gets through Madrimov, which I don't think he does, then Boots Ennis will clean out Terence Crawford. It's a classic case of a fighter being too confident and focusing more on the big payday than the tough fight ahead. Crawford has had lots of wins against easier opponents before. Now that he's older and facing a strong challenger for a big payout, he thinks it'll be an easy win like before." Hearn said, "So, you're going to have to pay up for it, and the only way to pay the money that Saul wants for that fight is His Excellency. It's still not a certainty that Crawford will get the fight against Canelo next year. His Excellency will need to give Canelo an offer he can't refuse to take this fight because it's a no-win situation for him. If Canelo destroys Crawford, he won't get credit because he moved up 2 weight classes and was old at nearly 37. Promoter Eddie Hearn believes Terence Crawford is stepping up 1 weight class too many when he moves up to his 4th division to challenge unbeaten champion Israil Madrimov for his WBA junior middleweight title on August 3rd in Los Angeles.
Well, my weight of 154 led me to be fighting Israil. I consider him the best, junior middleweight fighter in the division right now.
The Matchroom promoter Hearn thinks Crawford is pushing his luck by climbing to the 154 lb division, facing the biggest puncher and the most talented fighter in the weight class on his first try. Hearn points out that all fighters get old, and Crawford is no exception. He turns 37 in September and will have been out of the ring for over a year when he faces Madrimov at the BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. While Hearn respects Crawford's achievements in winning world titles in 3 divisions, he's not aging in reverse like Benjamin Button. Promoter Eddie Hearn spoke to Boxing News, talking about WBA junior middleweight champion Israil Madrimov ahead of his fight against Terence Crawford on August 3rd. He said, "Every fighter gets old. Every fighter steps 1 weight class too many. Can it be? Madrimov has tremendous footwork. He's elusive, his defense is good, and he punches really, really, really hard. It's hard enough for a younger fighter to move up 1 weight to challenge the most powerful puncher in the division. Still, when you're talking about an older one on the wrong side of 30 who hasn't fought in 13 months and has faced mostly softer opposition, it might be too much to ask of the Omaha, Nebraska native." Hearn said, "We understand the guy, Crawford, is a genius. Undisputed at 140, undisputed at 147, and trying to become undisputed at 154. It's time to break his heart. Let's dive into the myth surrounding Terence Crawford's undisputed reign." Fans and some media outlets have celebrated Crawford's achievement of 2 undisputed championships in his 16-year career. However, not many discuss the quality of opponents he faced to achieve this. His victories weren't against top-tier opponents, which raises questions about the true significance of his accomplishments.
Boxing, then we'll see what the future holds, but right now, I'm gonna make my mark where I'm at.
Another concern is Crawford's recent inactivity. It's been over a year since his last fight against Spence, and this break could be more problematic as he nears the end of his career. There are also worries that Crawford might be underestimating Israil Madrimov. Team Crawford has expressed their ambition to face Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds for another shot at undisputed glory. But for that to happen, Crawford must keep winning, meaning he can't afford to overlook the threat posed by Madrimov. In his own words, Crawford has claimed that the only person who can defeat him is himself. This mindset will certainly be put to the test as he prepares for what could be one of the toughest challenges of his career against Madrimov. Crawford said in an interview, "My mindset is always win at all costs. Make sure I'm coming in at 110% shape and prepared for whatever the opponent brings to the table. Make sure that I'm at the best of my abilities going into a fight so I don't have to worry about anybody else. A lot of people ask me, what have you got to do to win a fight? And I always say, just be myself. I always say that because I obviously feel that I'm Terence Crawford and can't nobody beat me unless I beat myself." Crawford emphasized his unwavering self-belief and dedication to peak preparation, stating that he feels unbeatable as long as he performs at his best. However, facing Israil Madrimov presents a serious challenge to Crawford's mindset. Known for his formidable skills, Madrimov will test Crawford's assertion that his only opponent is himself. This clash of confidence and skill promises an intriguing matchup in Crawford's career trajectory. Terence Crawford's trainer, Brian McIntyre, discussed how his fighter is acclimating to his new weight class as he prepares to take on Israil Madrimov at 154 pounds. Check out some excerpts of what he had to say below. McIntyre discussed Crawford's camp for Madrimov. He said, "Camp is going good. He's working hard like he always does. I'm just kind of being patient for the date to come so we can see a stronger and hard hitter like Terence do his thing." On what challenges they've faced for Crawford to grow into this weight class, McIntyre said, "It's really no challenges because Terence was growing out of 147, so his body is developing more now, and he's developing more power, so it's not holding him back no more. He have to stay a certain weight. Just let him go and do his thing. And he's got some great strength trainers. Things are going good for this new weight." McIntyre highlighted that Crawford has faced minimal challenges. As Crawford naturally moved up from 147 pounds, his body matured, resulting in increased power without hindrance. McIntyre expressed confidence in Crawford's adaptation, emphasizing his freedom to perform at the new weight class, supported by skilled strength trainers. Overall, the transition has been smooth, setting a positive tone for Crawford's future bouts. Discussing what Madrimov brings to the table in this fight, he said, "Seeing Madrimov, just watching his fights, and just watching him as a person, I believe he's going to bring a good, better performance out of Terence because the kid looks like he's determined. I know he only got 10 fights, but he got a shitload of amateurs, and he's been fighting some great guys at the professional level, and he's champion. So he brings a lot to the table for Terence to work with, and I'm excited to see it." In discussing Israil Madrimov's strengths and potential impact on Terence Crawford's upcoming fight, he highlighted Madrimov's determined demeanor and extensive background in both amateur and professional boxing. Comparing Madrimov to Egidijus Kavaliauskas, McIntyre added, "I look at him like a mean machine, Egidijus Kavaliauskas. Mean machine was rough, man and dude was tough as He had a good chin on him, but once Bud turned it up, he went in there and got the job done. So I look at Madrimov like that. That determined style, big, good chin, just ready to fight you blow for blow. And I think that's what Madrimov is going to bring to the table." On being asked what if any indications they've received from Turki Alalshik about a potential fight against Canelo, McIntyre replied to the media, "Well, I think it's just one fight at a time right now. So the fight that's in front of Bud, that's what he's concentrating on. Bud ain't never looked past an opponent. He never takes an opponent lightly. So right now he's just focused on Madrimov because this dude is dangerous. He's real dangerous. So that's where his focus is." He said Crawford always focuses on one fight at a time and takes each opponent seriously, especially tough ones like Madrimov. He further noted, "As far as Alalshik, I never talked to him. I think I only saw him one time, so I can't tell you what his thought process is." McIntyre also mentioned he hasn't talked to Alalshik much and doesn't know about any plans for Crawford to fight Canelo. Right now, Crawford's main goal is to get ready for his upcoming fight against Madrimov. While sharing his reviews about how he thinks Crawford matches up against Canelo, McIntyre shared to the media, "I just look at Canelo like he can be beat. He has been beat before, so Bud got the tools to beat him. That's how I look at it. As far as breaking him down, once that fight comes on the radar or on the table, then I'll start studying a little bit more on his style and how to break him down. But right now, my mind is focused on this dangerous Madrimov. Can't slip up on that guy." One of Crawford's past opponents, Sean Porter, has made his prediction for the contest and is confident that Bud will be able to cope with the threat which Madrimov poses. Porter said in a press conference, "My first time looking at it was just this morning. I watched some Madrimov. I think Terence. It always takes you a couple of rounds to see what these guys bring to you. I expect to see Madrimov in your face. I expect the stick to come out from Crawford." Porter expressed his confidence in Crawford's ability to handle the challenge. After reviewing footage of Madrimov for the first time, Porter expects a competitive fight where Madrimov will bring an aggressive approach, while he anticipates Crawford utilizing his tactical skills. He further added, "I expect him to start the fight orthodox. I think this is going to be a fun fight. You're going to have your hands full, but I think you will handle it. You always handle it. Some people are born to do what they do, and this kid is born to do what he does." Porter predicted that Crawford would initially fight in the orthodox stance and believed it would be an engaging match. He praised Crawford's innate ability to excel in the ring, suggesting that Crawford is naturally suited to boxing and will rise to the occasion against Madrimov. Crawford's clash with Madrimov headlines a stacked card that also includes Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Tim Tszyu and the return of former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. However, that most recent bout was a doozy utter domination of the unbeaten three-belt welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr., which Crawford closed with a 9th-round stoppage to cement his second term as an undisputed champion, after also doing so at 140 pounds. Atlas, a seasoned boxing analyst, offered his predictions for Terence Crawford's future in the ring. He likened Crawford's fighting style to a relentless force, suggesting Crawford will utilize his counterpunching skills effectively to dismantle opponents. Atlas predicted, "It's like going into a sausage grinder. Crawford's going to grind you up with counterpunches." Regarding potential challenges for Crawford, Atlas highlighted age and potentially declining speed as the main threats. He also predicted that age and slowed skills are the only things I see beating Crawford. However, he dismissed concerns about Crawford moving up in weight, noting Crawford's relatively low mileage in terms of tough fights and punches taken. Atlas believes Crawford remains fresh and well prepared for upcoming challenges in his career. He also said, "It's not linked to moving up in weight, and he doesn't have a lot of miles on the odometer. I judge a guy by the amount of punches he's taken, by how many tough fights he's been in. He's still fresh. I don't think that's going to be a problem." Madrimov, who counts unbeaten light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol and former unified junior featherweight title holder Murajan Akhmadaliev as gym mates in the Coachella Valley desert locale of Indio, California, has seen an inspired rise to becoming a world title holder after a distinguished amateur career and a gritty youth. Paulie Malignaggi, discussing Israil Madrimov's potential against Terence Crawford, described Madrimov as still developing but capable of posing challenges with his rough style. Malignaggi said, "Madrimov is rough around the edges and can give you a rough time. As a newly crowned crowned champion, Madrimov is eager to build his reputation and sees Crawford as a significant opportunity to enhance his legacy. Malignaggi said, "He's a new champion, and he's going to be hungry and wanting to create a bigger name for himself and his legacy. Crawford would be a huge feather to have in his hat." He further said, "But if Madrimov is going to have a chance, he has to hope Crawford has lost a few steps." Malignaggi emphasized that for Madrimov to succeed, he'll need Crawford to show signs of decline in his skills, implying that Crawford's perceived vulnerabilities could determine the outcome of their match. Teddy Atlas responded that the problem for Madrimov is going to be speed and all the elements Crawford brings. He's got good eyes, good timing. He's so calm that he slows the fight down like Michael Jordan would slow the game down. Teddy Atlas highlighted the contrasting strengths and weaknesses of both fighters. Atlas emphasized Crawford's advantages, particularly his speed, exceptional vision, and ability to control the pace of the fight akin to a basketball legend like Michael Jordan controlling the game. Teddy said, "I've watched Madrimov, and yeah, he's a real experienced amateur, and yeah, he's physically strong, and yeah, he's technically solid, but he's also predictable. He comes at you straight on, uses his physicality, goes to the body, his feet and his hands are too slow. Both of those will conspire against him." While acknowledging Madrimov's extensive amateur experience, physical strength, and technical proficiency, Atlas pointed out potential drawbacks. He noted that Madrimov's straightforward approach and slower footwork and hand speed could be exploited by Crawford. Despite Madrimov's strengths in power and determination, experts suggest his predictable fighting style and slower footwork could play into Crawford's hands. As the August 3rd showdown approaches, the spotlight remains on Crawford's ability to leverage his experience and adaptability in what promises to be a compelling clash in the ring. Will Crawford's speed and strategic prowess be enough to overcome Madrimov's power and determination in their upcoming battle? Share your predictions in the comment section.